On today's episode, Knob Creek Single Barrel Select Bourbon. Welcome to KIllco Whiskey Musings. My name is Brian, and yes, another bourbon. I've gotten to try a lot of bourbons over the years, and if you're wondering why specifically I'm picking bourbon today, well, I was on It's Bourbon Night stream for their 5th year of doing YouTube stuff. Link right up above. Doing this first so I don't forget, this is a single barrel select bourbon from Kappy's local liquor store that I go to. This is 120 proof, that is 60%. So no matter what happens, this is going to be a spicy meatball. I should point out that every time I open Knob Creek, I consider it shrapnel wax, so this part should be rather interesting. Funny enough, I've only had 2 Knob Creeks thus far. One is a pick from It's Bourbon Night, and another I did a video of quite a while ago, and I don't even remember if I actually liked it. I'll try to remember to link up there as well. The hell am I supposed to do this? You'd almost think I do that shit on purpose. I don't. Surprisingly, this is not shrapneling, as it tends to. So maybe they changed it, and with good reason. Although that was a pain in the ass, that's probably the easiest wax situation I've had with Knob Creek. Pause for the popping of the cork. No shrapnel, and the wax came right off. Woo. I also wanted to point out the different bottle shape they have now. This is the older version here, as you can tell, and this is the newer one. Look at that. It's like slim, kind of wonky looking. It's nice. It's hefty. They're both kind of hefty. This is different hefty. And since the night is young, we'll just have a nice little pour of 60% alcohol. And this is the point I should stop. Okay, there we go. And here we have our appearance chart. Look at this. Color's definitely around here somewhere. It's beautiful. I mean, as near as I can tell with the color chart above, it's almost old oakish. Appearance down below, I will say mahogany, because this is actually really dark. Clarity, it looks clear to me. No sediments, and the viscosity, well, viscosity on this is impressive. Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. There's no actual easy way to do this, but hopefully you can see them legs a little bit. Oh man, this is gonna have some bite to it, certainly. Begin nosing technique. Ooh, that's nice. It's honestly sweeter than I expected. Like a heavy sweet. It's making me think of corn syrup or maple syrup. Oh man. And I'm bouncing back and forth as per usual with caramel and brown sugar notes. I feel like I should go with brown sugar for this one. Whoa. Oh. There's something a bit sharp about it. I'm trying to decipher if it's like a eucalyptus or mint thing, which would be strange since that's typically something I get off ryes. I don't think this is a high rye, but really I have no idea. Oh man, this is a rich candy or some sort of really heavy dessert. I'm getting weird mixes in my brain where sometimes I'm thinking about brownies and ice cream. So I assume I'm thinking of some kind of chocolate brownie sundae. Oh man. What I'm finding most interesting is that the alcohol burn on the nose is barely even noticeable. It's all brown sugar rich sweetness. And let's just say it's making me want to drink it more and more the longer I do this. On to phase 2 of nosing. Intensity. Funny enough, it's 2. It's actually kind of difficult for me to get a lot off of this. Age, well, I'll say moderate. I don't know the actual age of their single barrel stuff, but I assume it has to be at least 4 to 5 years or more. And I'll put that under moderate. This being a bourbon, I will have to think it's a new oak. Grain is definitely a corn, malt, and I feel like rye. But this is another one where it's like I should have done the research. I didn't. But that makes it all the more interesting when I'm doing the editing. Yay. Smoke. None. I could be convinced of almost a mesquite thing, but I have a distinct feeling I'm imagining that. For spice here, I'm not getting your standard stuff. Like I could almost say leather. Not really a lot of cinnamon, maybe leaning towards clove a little, and that the sharpness of this, which may just be the alcohol, is also making me lean towards something bizarre like mint or eucalyptus. I am really wondering if there's any rye in this, because if so, I will be slightly amazed if I'm picking it out. If not, well, I have no idea what the hell's going on with this. Sweet notes. I am leaning heavily towards corn syrup and maple. More maple than corn syrup. There might be a bit of fig and maybe some cereal. I could be convinced there's like Honey Nut Cheerios in here for some odd reason. Floral. Kind of a toss up there. There might be pine, but I haven't quite figured out a solid way to explain this kind of sharp, spiky note that makes your nose do that. As close as I can get with the floral note, it's some kind of pine thing. It's not very aggressive, it's just slight. Wine, no. Fruit. I'm trying to decipher if there's banana in this. Not like Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels, I definitely get a fake banana smell. But this is almost, the memory of banana. As weird as that sounds. Possibly a bit of orange. I feel like all the other sweet notes are dominating. So any fruit notes are pretty much buried in this, which is why it's so difficult for me to do this. Trying to figure out what kind of fruit in there and getting this vague idea of what kind of fruit may be in there. Sulfur and peat, that's more of a Scotch thing. I look at them just in case. There may be a slight, very slight, eraser note, or possibly rubber. But it's a stretch. And that might just be the alcohol, as I said. 60%. Woo! For earth notes, I would feel like there's a faint dried leaves, somewhat herbal. Again, I'm equating that to that, spiky, possibly alcohol note. Wood, certainly. I'm trying to figure out if it's oak. Well, I didn't say tea earlier. A very late cinnamon tea is coming to mind. And, of course, I have no idea when the last time I had cinnamon tea was. Maybe it's more of a Christmas tea thing. Gingerbread? Alright, I need to just drink this stuff. This is always the weirdest moment where it's like, hold the glass and stare at the camera and... now just drink it! Alright. Not as hot as I expected. Granted, first sip. I'm just letting it happen. What was that? As usual, I'm feeling it right about here. I know I shouldn't analyze the first sip, but there was something weird about that. Like near the finish, there was a distinctive note that just made me go, "What? What was that?" And then it was gone. Well, time to hold this 60% alcohol on my tongue. Ooh, tongue tingles galore. Gets a little dry. The texture's nice. Oh, it's spicy. Oh, and there's the burn again, surprisingly. I'll wait to see if that note shows up again. 60% is no joke. Yeah, spicy with a bit of oak and then dry. I have a very long finish. I'm waiting for it to go away. It's not going away. Funny enough, the cinnamon's on the taste. It's sweet and spicy. A little bit of caramel. Not a huge amount of tongue tingle. It's not like on the... Sounds weird whenever I say stuff like this. The tingly sensation I'm getting is not on the top of my tongue. It's more on the sides. And almost on the bottom. Like on both sides right here. Just... huh! It doesn't seem as dry as it was before on the finish. There's actually a... I don't want to call it a film, but there's something that's being stuck to my tongue at this point. Which I call it a film. It's just staying there. I don't know if that's helping the initial sips I'm having or hurting them, but I'll just have another sip. For science. Still feeling it right here. And for some odd reason, I'm thinking of a Midwinter's Night's Dram. I've only had a sample of it a couple times, but with the amount of spiciness and the way it's kind of activating on my tongue, the little spiky notes, it's making me think of that memory, which is quite a while ago. I believe 2019 was the last time I had a sample of that. I really liked it, which is why I have such a distinct memory of it, but I keep wondering if this has a heavy rye in it. Yeah, no, we're not talking a lot, but maybe not. I hope I can find the mash bill of this at some point soon. Curiouser and curiouser. Palate phase 2. Flavor is sweet. Proof is high. The body, I'll give it a 3. It's not overly rich. I'll go 4. 4 feels a little better. But the texture, it's actually sharp. I don't know if that's the alcohol or just something about the bourbon itself, but it's super spiky. You know, you can't pretend like it isn't going, ha as soon as you drink it. Balance. Does any element dominate? Yeah, it's super freaking spicy, actually. Whew. Whew, whew. Finish long. I don't even have to think about that one. It just stays there. Like I can feel it all over my tongue, even while I'm talking. Complexity, I will say 3. I believe there's more to this, but I think the proof is really getting in the way. I may add a few drops of water to this just to see what happens. My patented crowded barrel eyedropper, water dropper, whatever. And if you're wondering, I do about 3 drops to start with because of an owl from my childhood, which suddenly I feel much older. 1, 2, 3, and I want a Tootsie Pop. Round and round like a magic spell, velvet gown, pink lapel. No one has any idea what song I'm thinking about there. Okay. Let's find what a few drops of water does. It's gotten more caramel on the nose. I'm gonna have a little water here because trying to cleanse the palate. It's a tricky thing to do. Oof. Alright. Tamed it down a little bit. Brought some of the oak notes forward. It's still sweet, and it did tame down the spiciness, which is good. I feel like this would probably be a little better with 3 drops of water because it was super spicy. But I should double check because reasons. Yep. The spiciness is still there. The sweetness is still there. Oh, definitely still there. Wow. I don't know what it is near the finish. It just is like, ha 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 ha, enjoy. But it is a little tamped down and more enjoyable because at the start at 60%, super spiky, tasty, but almost distracting in how spicy it was and how it was just attacking my tongue. It's like taking a clove and just being like, this is delicious. Now looking at knobcreek.com, they do have some information about the single barrel selects that they do for stores, but they're not specific because they shouldn't be. The only thing they really guarantee about their picks is the color is a rich burnt umber. Other notes, it just says tastes, aromas, and finish vary based on the barrel select, which is true. I did consider looking up other proofs at Knob Creek, but they give very basic, caramel, spicy, delicious, vanilla, long and full. They have those kind of tasting notes on there, and I don't need to tell you that. Try it for yourself someday. If you're ever in the Rhode Island, Massachusetts area. Did I mention this is a store pick? And there you have it, folks. A Knob Creek single barrel select from a local liquor store of mine. Very enjoyable, but I think it's just the proof of it that makes it hard to just be a simple sipper. It's aggressive, it's spiky. I feel like the proof needs to be lowered a bit, and that's saying something, considering I tend to like higher proofs. It could be used in a cocktail, but the cocktail would kick your ass if you weren't careful. However, if, in my case, you enjoy a heavy pour of a higher proof that you're going to drink for, 4 to 5 hours in the evening, this would work. Until next time, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. And I will see you out there. Thank you for joining me on KIllco Whiskey Musings. You can find my social media and Patreon in the links below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.